Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions on the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, everything really, depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest from a TV show called The Flash. We're with Kayla Compton. Kayla, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How have you been during this quarantine?
I'm okay. My husband and I feel really lucky that, we're healthy and safe, and we have our dog to keep us company. He's been exercising us, and so we feel really lucky and good.
Absolutely. When did you decide that acting and storytelling was something that Kayla Compton wanted to do?
I think that was a part of me from the very beginning. I would reenact movies I would watch, like Disney movies as a kid. My mom got a hold of a camcorder when I was like 8 years old, and I started making my own movies then with my friends and my brother. And then in high school, I started taking choir and drama. And so I think I've always known I wanted to be a performer and be a storyteller.
Absolutely. And now you are, people will recognize you from The Flash. And The Flash is one of those shows that has an amazing fan base, I feel like, from the very beginning. I feel like that's really interesting and important to note. I feel like The Flash was announced, it was going to be on CW, and then right away, poof.
Yeah, it had a crowd. Yeah.
It did, right away. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's amazing. I feel so lucky to be joining on now in the 6th season. Like you said, it was established from the beginning. It's incredibly established now. We have such an amazing fan base. So it's just been like an amazing roller coaster ride. And
can you talk to my viewers about your character in The Flash and how you kind of got involved with that as well?
Yeah, sure. So I play Allegra Garcia, and she is introduced in the 2nd episode of the 6th season as you think she might be a bad guy. You think she maybe committed a murder is how she's introduced. But it turns out it was her evil cousin that has done so. And she's just a girl who kind of grew up on the wrong side of the tracks and is trying to get her life in order. So she actually starts an internship with the character Iris, who writes a paper for the community.
Very cool. And you know what? It's like the CW universe and the DC universe, they're huge universes. There's so many characters in those universes, and you get to kind of be part of those characters. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you'd be part of a show like The Flash?
No, I mean, I guess it's something you dream about as an actor, right? Especially a superhero role. I had always wanted to do that, especially all these badass female superheroes. I was like, yeah, I'm so down. But no, I never thought that it would actually become a reality. I mean, every step of this process has been just a dream come true.
The quarantine and this whole COVID-19 thing has been a very crazy kind of world, and a lot of people are being affected by it in many ways. I feel like right now content is being consumed like crazy.
Yes.
Which is crazy to see. And so have you kind of noticed a little bit of a hump or a little bit of a spike in your social media, notifications and messages in the last couple of weeks with Flash fans kind of reaching out, or not really?
I think so, a little bit. I also have just seen sort of a gradual uptake in my personal social media anyway, as I've been on the show, and as episodes continue to air. But also the most recent episode that just aired, 17, I think had the highest viewings in the last 6 or 7 episodes. So that could have something to do with it too.
Absolutely. You were actually not my first Flash guest, actually, because Patrick Sabongi's been on the show.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
which is really cool. I did that
Yeah.
interview of him like I think 2 years ago, 3 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah,
It's
he's been on for a
crazy how
while.
time flies. It's just like it is
I
nuts.
know. You've had a ton of guests. Congratulations.
No, thank you. And it's
Cool.
it's it's I have the time to produce now.
Yeah, totally.
um what I find really interesting too, I mentioned it a little bit, and you said, you joined in the sixth season, but ensemble casts I feel like are some is really important in the world of TV and film, and it's something that has always been around, but I feel like people are kind of noticing it a lot now because I feel like a lot of the bigger shows right now have like 15 to 20 cast members, and it's one of those things where even if you're not like a lead on the show, you have like 4 or 5 episodes here and there, people still in the world of social media admire people of those roles like crazy. So it's like the love's being kind of spread a little bit. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think the writers do a really great job with making you fall in love with all of the characters. And even from a practical standpoint, it's nice for our leads to kind of get a little bit of a break in terms of scheduling and like just the emotional weight that they carry, carrying the show. So I think for that reason, it's good too.
Absolutely. What have you been kind of watching during this quarantine besides The Flash, of course?
Yeah, right. I did binge Tiger King like everyone
Hmm.
else. I had to. You know what? I haven't been watching a ton of TV. My husband and I have been watching classical movies every night.
Nice.
Uh, that's been really awesome. So like seeing sort of the difference in the way the movies were made back then and now has been really cool.
It's pretty. So you mentioned it a little bit before, like when you kind of showed up on the Flash and your social media. From what you remember, because you're at around like almost 40,000 followers on the Instagram. What was it like right before you got on the Flash?
Like how many followers do I have?
Yeah, like around. Like I'm just. Was it like
Yeah.
Was it a really big jump?
Yes, I had like not even 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot of people from a show on Netflix called Outer Banks.
Yeah.
I don't know, and like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're all going up like 50 followers a minute. It feels like
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
that's
nuts.
insane. Yeah, it's crazy.
How did you kind of deal with that though? Because going from like what you just said to like what you have now, I mean, that's just kind of like you can't even keep up with everything.
I mean, yeah, you definitely can't. I can't keep up with like, DMs and stuff like that, but I don't think there's an expectation that I should be replying to those anyway, so that's good. I had an idea that that would happen, and I also talked to some of the cast. Like I remember talking to Danny Nicolay. And she plays Cecile on the show, and she had mentioned like you're going to blow up on social media and people may be crazy and you're going to get a lot of amazing fans and like all this stuff. So she had prepared me a bit, and I was under the impression that that would happen.
I was trying to get her on my show. I feel like I don't know. I was trying to get her on, and I haven't had the chance to. But I was trying. I think when I had Patrick, I was trying to reach out to a few people from The Flash, and I reached
Yeah.
out to her, and I think it just kind of fell flat. But hopeful one day will happen.
Yeah, she's amazing.
No, she is awesome. The whole cast is amazing. Like
Yeah.
The Flash has an amazing cast from top to bottom. Like, can we just talk about that?
Yeah, and everyone is such a wonderful actor and a wonderful person.
Which is
It's,
amazing.
it's really impressive.
And it's funny because I have some friends that are on Lock and Key on Netflix, and they're saying the same thing. Like it's been a family, right? And they were saying though that it doesn't always happen that way. Like there's some times where you go on a set and it's just you do your work, you leave, and
Yeah.
there's not that family aspect of it. Like it doesn't, because I feel like when I talk to people, they're like, oh, the cast and crew, like we were like a family, and I'm like, is this gonna be like everyone saying this?
You're like, yeah.
But like people said like they've worked on many shows, and they're like some shows it's not as much as a family as others as compared.
Yeah, and even more so, some shows can be like a disaster. I've heard horror stories. I don't know the shows in particular, but yeah, no, ours is great, and everyone that I've talked to has said it's the best cast and crew that they've worked for. So I think everyone is in that boat.
You kind of threw a curveball to me down the middle right now, so I'm going to ask you this question because you mentioned you mentioned like horror, you've heard horror stories. I'm a huge horror movie fan. Have you ever worked on anything in the horror genre, and is that something that you've kind of been interested in doing down the road?
I was in a horror comedy called Attack of the Killer Donuts.
Tell me more. You can't just say that and not.
That's
what? Is it available to watch right now?
Yeah. I think you can like order it. It's on Amazon Prime, I think.
It is on Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Guess what I'm watching today?
Check it out.
Wow. Okay. And it literally is about what it is? Like a donuts attack people?
It actually is. Yeah. We work in a donut shop and
Sorry, that's amazing.
Yeah. There's like a chemical that is introduced to the batter that turns the donuts into man-eating. No, it is exactly what you're imagining.
Who else is in this film?
My friend Justin Ray is the other lead. Thomas C. Howell is in it. You know.
So it's on. Oh man, I'm pumped.
Yeah, you gotta check it out.
I feel like it's really awesome, and I feel like you guys are really like a lot of actors are very fortunate because you've gotten to do a lot of roles in films that at the time seemed to be like, just like a film to do, and you weren't sure what the reception was going to be like. But the accessibility of things, like I get excited when someone says like I did a movie like Attack Killer Donuts, and I get to watch it. Like it excites me to watch more of the content of my guests. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. It's a fun one. And then that's how I felt when I first did it. I was like, oh, I don't know what this is gonna be. But I've had a lot of people like reach out to me and be like, I loved Attack of the Killer. Like, never mind the Flash. I liked Attack of the Killer Donut.
I am pumped, Kayla.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited.
You'll have to let me know what you think.
No, because I feel like it's one of those things where like horror films in the last 5 years, I've just been like I had Lynn Shay on my show, which was like a crazy experience for me because she was in all the Insidious movies and she's just such an amazing actress. Like it's just unbelievable. And I was like, you were in like 4 Insidious films. Like you were and that movie was part of like the resurgence I find of horror with like The Conjuring and all those. And I was like, you were part of that like peak, you know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, it's good because that genre is nuts right now. Like it is a crazy genre.
Yeah, and this movie is not that.
No, I know, but it's like
it's definitely not a proper horror film. But yes, I totally agree, and I would love to do a proper horror film.
I also love donuts too. Like I'm a big donut person.
Yeah.
I just. Okay, yeah, I gotta focus right now. This is like a flash interview. Well, it's funny because I did an Instagram live. My friend Mike Houston was in Orange is the New Black, and we're like doing it, and people joined in because I've had video game people on my show before, and like some voice actors from like Red Dead Redemption show up, right? And I just said shout out to my friends to Red Dead Redemption 2, and he's like, oh, like I did work on that game. And we're like, what? Like, you didn't tell me that. And he starts talking about that. So it went from being like, it was supposed to be an Orange is the New Black interview. And it was a Red Dead Redemption 2 interview. This was supposed to be a Flash interview. And it's become an Attack of the Killer Donuts interview.
Hey, as much as I can promote Attack of the Killer Donuts, I will.
Getting back
it's also a small world.
Yeah.
So everyone's worked on
That's another thing, too. I want to ask you a question right now.
Yeah.
And you're going to think about it. It's an interesting question.
Okay.
Is the world small? You know when people say it's a small world? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a small world? Or do we just know a lot of people?
I don't know. Or is it just that we're not paying attention until we meet, until we see that same person again?
It's so easy to connect people, too, in the industry.
Yeah.
Because people say, like, oh, small world, you know this person. I'm like, is it small or do I just know so many people? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's not, right? It's actually incredibly large.
Big.
Yeah.
before we wrap up, I do want to get back to the Flash. I mean, anytime you work on a show, whether you've been working for 5 years, 10 years, whatever project, everyone says they've always had kind of learning experiences on projects, even if it wasn't the first project they've done. What were some learning experiences for you as an actor or as, a person on The Flash, Kayla?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the biggest sort of project I've been a part of. And so there's been a ton of learning experiences. I think one of the main things that I went into this thinking was that I just wanted to be really as personable as I could be and really get to know everyone, not just the cast, but really become friends with the crew and be a normal human. And so that was a really cool, I don't know, just learning experience, having such nice people all around me, being so welcoming, and invite me in. I think that was one of the biggest things for me.
Amazing. Well, Kayla, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really had a blast talking to you about The Flash and Attack of the Killer Donuts.
That's so funny. Yeah, I had such a great time. Thank you.
I remember, the pink donut that you see in The Simpsons, the glazed, the generic pink glazed donut.
Yeah.
For Christmas a couple years ago, I got my friend Cheryl. She loves donuts. She's obsessed with them. Yeah. And I went to Marshall's. And it's winter. It's Winners, and it's owned by Winners, and it just has everything, right? And excuse me. And so I'm going in, and I find this snow globe that has a pink donut in it. And I got it for her, and it was the perfect thing. It was the most random thing ever.
That's so funny. I think on our movie poster is a pink donut with fangs. But it's a pink glazed donut.
That is so good. Well, where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
I'm mostly on Instagram, and it's at Kayla Compton. I try to do Twitter, but I forget about it.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. Congrats on the success with The Flash.
Thanks.
And I hope you and your husband are still doing well during the quarantine.
Yeah, thanks. I hope that you stay safe.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is Kayla Compton from The Flash and Attack the Killer Donuts and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.